We like this guy. He works with his hands. He knows his skill. He's good at it. Has been developing it for years, and he makes money, and he'll always have work. Unless the woke mob gets in the way. You know, they are trying to screw up everything. They see racism everywhere. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter what color you are. It's happening where he works. It's happening in so many unsuspecting places, like this institution, the Guggenheim Museum in New York. Have you ever heard of it? Frank Lloyd Wright designed this facility. It's the first museum I visited on a field trip in the 4th grade. It is pretty cool. It's not my thing. It wasn't my choice, but take a look at it now. It's, well, it's the same classic design. Inside, it's got like a ramp, and it's a very cool place. I'm less bored there than I am at other museums. And they have things like this, a Liechtenstein. He does like cartoon stuff, but it's art. Totally fine museum as far as museums go. And then some guy named George Floyd, something terrible happened to him, and the whole world blew up, including institutions, people, places that have absolutely nothing to do with that matter, but everybody overreacted. So the museum has been jumping through all kinds of hoops. I want to tell you about that. There's a guy named Mr. Armstrong who's been in charge of the museum since 2008. You may notice that he's white. You may notice that he's of a certain age. Well, that's not cool anymore. And right after George Floyd, all hell broke loose in that museum. It was perfectly fine until August of 2020. And then the complaints started coming forward. Let's see. Number one, this place, the Guggenheim, is an inequitable institution, work environment that enables racism, white supremacy, and other discriminatory practices. Wow. White supremacy, racism, all that stuff in a museum where they hang pictures on the wall. Yeah, so they had this great big moment and a discussion. And it wasn't just, oh, do we have enough people of color who work here? What about the people who come to the museum? Take a look at this. They did a study, and it found that nearly 73% of museum visitors identified as white. By comparison, the city's population is about 43% white. You see that? Too many white people going to the museum, ruining it for everybody. How can this be? So what do? Launch a whole new plan, right? Do everything the woke mob, the culture is calling for at this moment. Therefore, everything will be fine, correct? It goes on. The Guggenheim Museum has approved a plan to address complaints of entrenched racism within its walls. Wow. The museum announced to its staff a 2-year initiative to create policies for reporting discrimination and developing diversity programs, according to Richard Armstrong, the museum's director. That's that guy we were talking about a little while ago. Same dude. All right. New measures include paid internships, opportunities for students from underrepresented backgrounds, a partnership with historically black colleges, and universities to promote job openings. Wow, they are doing and saying all the right things. This is important. They want the creation of an industry-wide professional network for people of color working at arts organizations. Wow, all right? I mean, they are jumping through hoops here. Finally, what will this provide the museum? They put it this way: the effort to make a change is an opportunity for us to engage in a beneficial dialogue, to become a more diverse, equitable, and welcoming organization for all. Wow, who wouldn't want to work there? Well, I think Mr. Armstrong would probably have liked to have stuck around a little bit longer, but he's out. He is out. Just announced his resignation this week. When you give in to the mob, and I can't speak to the specifics of this case, maybe it was totally personal reasons, just like the lady who was a curator there for a long time, and she was accused of racism, and she took a 3-month sabbatical and was ultimately cleared of racism. This is tough stuff, all right? I really think the reason why he's being edged out is because he's white and of a certain age. Doesn't matter how experienced you are, how much you know. It's just not chic anymore. People like this, Cesar Conde of NBC, I mean, I guess he's whatever. Well, it doesn't matter what he is. Look what he wants to do to the workforce there. We aspire to achieve 2 concrete goals: 50% of our news organization employees will be women, and 50% of our total workforce, people of color. Okay, content of our character, that doesn't have anything to do with it. It's all about looks these days. How is this supposed to make any white person feel? Somebody like me. I guess I will never work there. That's fine. I won't be working there for a lot of reasons. Look, it's all a gross overreaction. Watch any TV commercials lately?
Look at this, though.
See somebody step this game up, huh?
Game over.
Made for grand entrances. The all-new Tundra.
First team approaching check-in. Hi, checking in?
Yep, it's me, Megan Thee Stallion.
You can get all sorts of things delivered from the neighborhood.
The neighborhood?
All from the people in your neighborhood. The people that you meet when you're walking down the street.
Hey, it's totally cute. I liked all those commercials. But what happened to all the white people? Where are the white actors? Now, we are in a position that being white is now a liability in certain fields, certainly in the arts and others. So George Floyd, something horrible happens to him, but people who had nothing to do with it are now not finding themselves cast in certain roles or being asked to do jobs that they are very good in, or perhaps continue in jobs that they already have. So what do? They apologize. They try to placate the mob. They try to say, look, I'm good. Look at how righteous I am. And they do it in the most obnoxious way.
I take responsibility.
I take responsibility.
I take responsibility.
I take responsibility for every unchecked moment.
For every time it was easier to ignore than to call it out for what it was.
Every not-so-funny joke. Every unfair stereotype.
Every blatant injustice, no matter how big or small.
Every time I remained silent.
Every time I explained away police brutality or turned a blind eye.
I take responsibility. Black people are being slaughtered in the streets, killed in their own homes. These are our brothers and sisters.
Our friends, our family. We are done watching them die. We are no longer bystanders. We will not be idle. Enough is enough.
They look like they did that. Were they forced to do that? I'm never going to be in a video like that. I don't want to see anybody die, but I'm never going to be in a video like that. And this person, this is actress Piper Biabo, something like that. So she said she's not going to be idle. Well, she's still making the same old crummy movies and TV shows. I don't see anything there about racial justice. I don't know. Look, I think it was just words, a silly stunt. Look how righteous we are. And that actually works in Hollywood. That works that works with Democrats and in the mainstream media. And this does too. And it's particularly offensive, I think. White men putting themselves down. Usually they have a lot of money and a lot of power, so they can get away with this. I'm white, I'm old, I should take a step back.
I'm asking for trouble here, because here I am, an old white guy talking about race relations.
But you're a mean, mad white man. The Republican Party is primarily a bunch of old white men and old white women.
You've got to offer something more than just being the next old white guy in line.
I just know gray-haired white guy in a suit, you know, fairly boring.
Maybe somebody like me, you know, an old white guy working for the government, doesn't quite have the same credibility with people out in the community.
You see, it's a free country. You can say whatever you want, but that is having a poisonous effect on the country. This kind of attitude. White people shut up, sit down, stand back, speak for yourselves. Some of us, you know, we still have ambition. We still want to go places, okay? Matthew Dowd, who is a political strategist for George W. Bush, of all people, actually said this out loud. Us white male Christians need to step back and give others room to lead. He may have changed his mind on that. He ran for lieutenant governor in Texas. I don't think that worked out very well. What a lot of these elites are doing, playing dead, virtue signaling, so the mob leaves them alone and they can retain their power. But it screws up everybody else. Animals do this thing. Ducks playing dead. Take a look. See? Watch this. That duck is alive. There he goes. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I feel like they are, oh, we're not going to offend anybody. We just don't pick on us for now. Being submissive, then the threat goes away. They still retain their power. Regular people don't act like this. Regular people, regular Americans fight. They stand up. They are not going to be bullied, especially at work. Take a look at these heroes. People who are getting hassled at work, like Joseph DiBenedetto, 20 years at AT&T, an assistant vice president, fired with 9 other white males after company released diversity initiative. He has filed a discrimination lawsuit. Good for him. These things have a way of working out. Next, please, we have David Duval, fired, given no reason, replaced by a white woman and a black woman, 2 people. He won a $10 million reverse discrimination lawsuit. Also, James Damore, fired after questioning diversity practices at Google. He alleges discrimination for being white and conservative. I bet that's going to work out in his favor. It's happening everywhere. You know, life is tough enough. Don't hold things we can't control against us, whether you're black and gay. You can't change that. I can't change that I'm white and a male and all these things, all right? Life is tough enough for everybody. Have you seen this number? Inflation, 9.1%. I think we all need a break, don't you? Let's take one right now. We'll be back with the key difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. What is the key difference between these two? There are a million, but there's one that's not talked about very often. We'll be right back.